Hey guys, this is Ben with No Accent Callers, and today we're going to be going over how to take yourself from a solo operator within your wholesale business to being able to build a team that is able to scale. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Ben. I'm one of the founders of No Accent Callers. Currently, we run a 400-person call center, primarily located overseas, where we do cold calling for wholesalers, investors, listing agents, fix and flippers nationwide, from single family all the way to commercial and industrial. So we work with a bunch of wholesale clients, and typically how it starts off is they're doing everything themselves. They're doing the lead generation, they're doing the acquisition, they're doing the disposition, and they probably get some success. Maybe they do 2 to 3 deals per month, but a lot of people find themselves getting stuck into what I like to call a high paying job. And don't get me wrong, a high paying job, there's nothing wrong. But a lot of people get into entrepreneurship because they have the hopes and the ambitions of, leverage and being able to work from wherever they want. And you can get to that point within your wholesale business or any other business, but it requires the correct systems. And a lot of people don't know what to do, how to build those right systems, or maybe they're scared. And that's what this whole entire video is for. So what we have right here, before we go into what the correct team structure looks like, is the unlimited deal funnel. So if somebody asked me, hey Ben, show me one graph on how to wholesale, I would show them this. Remember, this is not a real estate business. This is a marketing and a sales business. You need leads coming at the top of the funnel. You have sales, the acquisitions, and then you have the fulfillment, being able to sell the house. So these are all the types of lead channels that you could have: traditional marketing, paid traffic, JVs, referrals, cold outreach, organic. And then what you need to do is you get a lead, you got to call the lead. Two things that happens: the lead picks up, and lead picks up, he goes into your acquisitions, and guess what? Two things could happen. It's either qualified, where you go into comping, you present the offer, or it's unqualified and it goes into long-term follow-up. You also have the no answer right here. If they go into answer, you have this automated sequence where you do 3 calls, 3 texts, 3 voicemail drops every single day until they pick up. But let's say you go down the qualified route, and guess what? We get an offer accepted. You have Dispo right here, and you have the different types of ways that you can move a deal all the way to getting a deal funded. So when you are in that solo operator, that high paying job mode, you got to take care of all of this. But in order to build a business that is leveraged, that you're able to do more, can get more deals across the finish line, you have to put the correct people in place that handle different parts of this. Because going back to like doing more deals, you cannot do more deals, make more money yourself. Why? A single person is bogged down by physics. Well, what do we mean by physics? You can only work so many hours in a day. You could only do so much. That's why you have leverage. And putting leverage in the correct systems is how you are able to build the team to be able to handle more leads. Because a solo person, in order to get new leads, they might only be able to handle 50 leads a month and work all the existing deals and do the follow-up. But at some point, if you want to go to 100, 400, 1,000 leads a month, you got to be able to have the systems to handle that. So in order to build the team, to build leverage, to have systems that run without you so you're able to do more for, less of your hard-earned time, we always like to start off on the marketing side. The marketing should be the easiest thing for you to leverage out, to build a team. So when people are doing everything themselves, when they do the marketing themselves, it typically comes down to 2 things. 1, they're cold calling themselves. 2, they're building the call center themselves. Or 3, they're running the paid advertising themselves. Because you got to remember, these are the channels: traditional marketing, billboards, TV ads, radio. I'm going to throw direct mail in here. It's wrong. Paid traffic, PPC and PPL. That's through Google, Facebook, or YouTube. JV's, referrals. You have cold outreach, which is cold call, SMS, and ringless voicemail. And you have SEO. So when we go to our main structure right here, the lead generation, you could build out internally yourself so that you can, get more leads without you having to do it yourself. And with cold calling, typically what you want to do is you want to get a team leader / operations manager. You're probably going to get another quality person, as well as cold callers. These are going to be the people who are hammering the phones for you every single day, getting you hot, motivated seller leads. They're going to be running the operation, because trust me, I know that when you have a call center yourself, it's a very human intensive process. It requires a lot of people. The VAs, the cold callers, they have questions, they have concerns, they have answers, they have a life that, guess what? It goes up to their boss. And the last thing you want is to have 15 callers, going right to you, asking you questions. Hey, how do I do this? Because then your time becomes training into the correct people versus actually working the deals themselves. So you do one of two things. Like you build it out yourself, which takes time, effort, and attention, or you could just like hire a cold calling company like No Accent Callers, where we do everything for you and you're just able to get leads. And then if we're also bringing PPC on the side, once again, like you can click the buttons yourself and do the ads, but then you become a marketer, not a closer. Clicking buttons and getting leads does not get us deals within this space. Closing deals and working leads and talking to sellers, that's what does. So you just go pay an agency. And the next part, what we're going to have of team building is the sales. So sales, aka acquisitions, comes into two things: new leads that are coming in right now, whether it's a fresh lead from cold calling or PPC, then also working the old pipeline. So as you see here, we kind of have our acquisitions bucket, and then I put like acquisition manager 1/head of acquisitions, because if you're going from that solo operator, you're not going to go build a whole entire team. You don't have enough lead flow for that. You need to be able to get enough leads to fill your guys so they actually want to work with you and make money. But you'll get one acquisition manager, and they're going to handle the front end of the lead. So if we go back to our limited deal funnel, hey, lead comes up and they pick up, they're going to be working this stuff. They're going to be making the offers. They're going to be closing the deals and trying to get it across the finish line. But guess what? Sometimes they don't pick up. Sometimes they aren't interested right now and you need to go into a long-term follow-up. So typically what I like to do is get a lead manager for each acquisition manager, because you want your acquisition manager doing the highest leverage things. The highest leverage things is talking to sellers and getting it under a contract, not following up with a lead for 6, 7, or 8 months. Because in order to be profitable within this business, you need to follow up with your leads. But guess what? What's more valuable for your closers or yourself's time? Calling the lead that is maybe interested in 6 months, or the one who's interested to sell now? Of course it's going to be the person who's interested to sell right now. But if you've been in this business, there's nothing worse than getting a lead. They say they're not interested. A month later, you call to follow up with them. Oh, I sold my house a week ago. It's a timing game. You need to put your resources in place to have people on top, and that's what the lead manager does. So the lead manager, they do the follow-up from 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240 days all the way on. And then if you can't get a hold of the lead, you are able to just have your lead manager just dial them until they pick up, and then you move that over to your acquisitions manager. And then the final part of building out your team is going to be the dispo. And typically it's going to be two things. One, just like a dispo rep, which you can call a head of dispo, and then also getting a TC who just does all of the bullshit and the paperwork. So all of a sudden you go from doing every single one of these to, hey, I am that CEO, I am that operator who makes sure that marketing is doing their job. I don't know why this says no, but marketing is doing their job. They're getting the right amount of leads. The targeting is in place. The quality is there. Okay, now instead of you generating the leads and then having to work the deals, you have your acquisitions guy working those deals, making sure their speed to lead is on time, doing their objection handling, their sales training, and then making sure that gets passed down all the way to the acquisition managers. And then you have your lead managers who are following up with the pipeline, and okay, now they're doing their job. And guess what happens when marketing is doing their job? They're getting great leads, and then sales is doing their job and they're closing those leads. You get deals, and then now it's making sure that your dispo is good, your buyer relationship is there, the buy box, and then guess what? It becomes the same thing over and over and over again. You make sure your numbers are good. If I know that every 25 leads that I get, it costs me $100 per lead, I will get a contract that pays me $10K. My cost to acquire a contract is $2.5K, but I make $10K. And then let's say I pay my acquisition rep 20%. So overall, my cost to acquire a contract is $2,500 plus, let's just call it $2K, so $4.5K. I am left with $5.5K of profit. Okay, you want to make $100K in profit? Go get fucking 20 contracts. Go get 20 deals, and you do this over and over and over again. And this is how you build your own team, because guess what? If you want to have your hands on everything, if you try to do everything yourself, you're going to be bogged down. You're going to become the bottleneck. Businesses putting your people in the right position, giving them the resources, and making sure the cogs in the wheel operate in an efficient manner. And then you do more and more and more again, because as you get more leads, your sales is going to get tougher. You need to hire more people, and that's what the game